Wait. Listen carefully. The old tricks of avoidance, they're not going to work on you anymore. The game is officially over. You might be wondering, how am I so sure? Because all those patterns, all those manipulations, that push and pull drama, it's exposed now. And the most important part, you're no longer following their rules. Think about it. An avoidant gives you just enough attention, makes you feel like yes, finally we're building a connection, and the very next moment, they vanish. Ghost mode, silent treatment, and there you are, late at night, confused, guilty, asking yourself, maybe the problem is me. Isn't that true? But now it's time to flip the tables. The game they've been playing for so long, the script is in your hands now, and this video, this is the final chapter of that game. Today I'm going to show you a perspective you've probably never heard before, why avoidants behave this way, how their patterns are designed to keep you under control, and most importantly, what you need to do so you never get trapped again. After today you're no longer the victim, you're the player, and believe me, when you break the rules of their game, they're left with nothing. So if you've ever been caught in the games of an avoidant, watch this video till the very end, because once you understand this, avoidance will never hold power over your life again. Let me ask you something real. Has this ever happened to you? One day, they're close, talking to you like you're the most important person in their life. Their energy, their words, even the way they look at you, it feels like home. And then just like that, the very next day, they turn cold, distant, almost like a stranger. You sit there, completely confused. Your mind starts spinning. Did I say something wrong? Did I push too hard? Maybe I texted too much. Maybe I cared too much. And slowly, guilt creeps in. You start believing the problem is you. But here's the truth. It's not your fault. Think about the pattern. They give you warmth. They pull you in. They make you believe you're finally safe. And then they vanish. They withdraw. They stop answering. They leave you hanging with silence. And you, being the caring person you are, start blaming yourself for something that was never even about you in the first place. Sound familiar? Because this isn't just a one-time thing. It happens again, and again, and again. A cycle you never asked for, but somehow you keep getting dragged into. And here's the dangerous part. Every time it happens, it chips away at your confidence. You start questioning your worth. You start feeling like maybe you're too much, or maybe you're not enough. But let me tell you something right now. That's exactly the trap. They act close, then pull away, leaving you desperate for the closeness again. It's not love. It's not care. It's a pattern designed to keep them comfortable, and to keep you chasing. If you've ever felt this cycle, the hot and cold, the push and pull, the emotional whiplash, then you already know the pain I'm talking about. And I want you to hold on to one thing. It was never about your worth. It was never about you being wrong. It was about them running from intimacy, while you kept trying to build it. And once you see that clearly, everything starts to change. Let's call it what it really is. A game. An avoidance. They're experts at it. Here's how it usually goes. First, they show interest. They text you back quickly. They make you laugh. They make you feel like you're finally connecting. They might even open up just a little, enough to make you think, wow, this is real. And then, they disappear. They pull back. Suddenly the texts slow down, the calls stop, and their energy turns cold. One minute they're leaning in, the next minute they're running away. Push, then pull, warmth, then ice, attention, then silence. And you're left spinning, wondering what just happened. It feels like emotional whiplash. But here's the catch. That's the entire strategy. They give you just enough to hook you, and then they withdraw. So you start chasing the connection they dangled in front of you. It's like dangling a carrot in front of a rabbit. They know if they give you a little sweetness, you'll crave more. And when they pull it away, your brain panics. You start thinking, what can I do to get that closeness back? And boom, you're back in the game. See the trick? It's not random. It's not an accident, it's a pattern, a cycle. They push when they feel safe, they pull when they feel too close, and in between, you're stuck trying to decode the mixed signals. Here's the playful part. Once you see the pattern, it's almost funny, because it's so predictable. Warm, cold, on off, push, pull, over and over again, like a broken record pretending to be music. But when you don't see it, it feels personal. It feels like rejection. And that's why the game works. Because it tricks you into thinking you need to fix yourself, when really the whole thing is about them avoiding intimacy. So let's call it out right now. This isn't love. This isn't romance. This isn't even confusion. This is a strategy, whether conscious or unconscious, to keep control. And once you see it for what it is, the magic spell breaks. Because once the trick is exposed, it can't work on you anymore. Now here's the turning point. Up until now it felt like they had the upper hand. They were pulling the strings. They were setting the rules. They were running the game. But guess what? Those days are over. The tables have turned. The rulebook, it's no longer in their hands. It's in yours. Think about it. Every time they pushed you away, you chased. Every time they pulled back, you leaned in harder. Without realizing it, you were playing by their script. But today, that script is being torn apart. Because you don't need to chase anymore. You don't need to beg for scraps of attention. You don't need to lose sleep trying to decode mixed signals. That's their world, not yours. From this moment forward, the power shift begins. Instead of reacting to their every move, you hold steady. Instead of questioning your worth, you own it. Instead of playing the game, you step off the board completely. And here's the beauty of it. When you stop chasing, the entire game collapses. An avoidance push and pull only works if you're on the other side, pulling back and forth. But the moment you let go of the rope, the tug of war ends. Can you feel that? That freedom? That's what happens when you take control back. So let's make it clear. You're not the one running after them anymore. You're not the one bending over backwards to prove yourself. You're not the one trying to keep the connection alive while they play hide and seek. You've flipped the script. Now they're the ones left wondering. They're the ones second guessing. They're the ones realizing their tricks don't work on you anymore. This isn't about revenge. This isn't about games. This is about power. Your power. The power to choose yourself. To stand tall. To walk away from manipulation. And step into self-respect. And once you step into that, there's no going back. Let's pause for a moment and really understand what's going on inside an avoidance mind. Because once you see the psychology behind their behavior, everything starts to make sense. Avoidants aren't distant because you're unworthy. They're distant because closeness feels threatening to them. Yes, emotional intimacy, the very thing you crave, feels like danger to them. Here's why. Somewhere in their past, childhood, early relationships, or even both, they learned that closeness equals pain. Maybe they grew up with parents who were emotionally unavailable. Maybe they experienced betrayal, rejection, or abandonment. Whatever the story, their nervous system built a defense. If I get too close, I'll get hurt. So what do? They build walls. They pull back. They avoid vulnerability. Not because they don't care at all, but because caring too much feels unsafe. That's why the push-pull cycle happens. When things feel distant, they come closer, because distance feels safe, and closeness becomes tempting. But the moment it gets too close, their alarms go off. Suddenly, they withdraw, they ghost, they create space, not because of you, but because of their wiring. And here's the key insight. Their avoidance is not strength. It's not power. It's not maturity. It's weakness. It's fear disguised as control. On the other hand, your ability to want connection, to handle intimacy, to stay present with emotions, that's strength. That's courage. That's emotional maturity. So every time you've blamed yourself for being too much or too needy, I want you to flip that thought. What you call neediness is actually your ability to love. What you call cleanliness is actually your bravery to connect. Meanwhile, what they call independence, many times, it's actually avoidance, escaping, running away from the very thing they secretly crave but don't know how to handle. Once you understand this, the confusion ends. You stop asking, what's wrong with me? And you start seeing, oh, this is their pattern, not my failure. And that shift, that clarity, is what gives you the upper hand. Alright, now let's get practical. You've seen the game, you've understood the psychology, but the real question is, what do you actually do about it? The answer is simpler than you think, and it comes down to 3 powerful steps. Step 1. Stop chasing. When they pull away, your natural instinct is to run after them, to send the extra text, to call again, to ask what went wrong. That's exactly how the game traps you. So here's the shift. When they pull back, you hold your ground. No chasing, no begging, no proving. Step 2. Give space, but on your terms. Avoidants thrive on creating distance. So instead of fighting against it, you flip it. When they disappear, you let them. You don't react. You don't panic. You don't collapse into self-blame. You allow the space, because you know your value doesn't shrink just because they pulled away. Step 3. Protect your dignity above everything. This is where the power lies. Every time you refuse to lower your self-respect just to keep someone close, you're ending the game. Avoidants expect you to bend, to chase, to compromise yourself for connection. But when you stand tall, when you value your own dignity more than their crumbs of attention, the dynamic breaks instantly. And here's the magic. The moment you stop playing their game, it stops existing. Push and pull only works if you push back when they pull. But when you step back completely, calm, steady, grounded, the rope slips right out of their hands. So the formula is simple. Don't chase, give space, protect dignity. 3 moves. That's it. And when you practice them, you'll feel the shift inside you almost immediately. You'll notice your anxiety calming down, your self-worth rising, and their tricks losing power. Because at the end of the day, the game can't survive without your participation. And now, you've just walked off the board. Take a second, and think about where you were before. Remember those nights lying awake, staring at your phone, wondering why they suddenly pulled away. Remember the spiral of thoughts. Did I say too much? Did I scare them? Am I the problem? That confusion was heavy. It drained your energy. It made you question your worth. It made you feel powerless. But look at where you are now. Today, you're not chasing. You're not overthinking every little message. You're not sitting in silence, blaming yourself for their patterns. Today, you've seen the truth. You've recognized the game for what it is. And instead of falling for it, you've stepped out of it completely. Yesterday, they had the control. Today, you do. Yesterday, you were the one asking, why are they doing this? Today, you're the one saying, I see exactly what this is, and it doesn't control me anymore. That's the power shift. That's the freedom. And here's the beautiful part. The moment you stop playing, they're the ones who get trapped. They're the ones who realize their push and pull doesn't pull you in anymore. They're the ones left confused, wondering why their old tricks suddenly stopped working. You've leveled up, because now, you're not reacting out of fear. You're responding out of strength. You're not begging for their attention. You're owning your dignity. You're not stuck in the cycle anymore. You've broken it wide open. And doesn't that feel incredible? To know that the same game that once drained you, now has zero power over you. To know that the same tricks that once kept you trapped, now make you laugh because you see right through them. That's not just clarity, that's transformation. So remember this. Yesterday, you were confused. Today, you're the master of the game. And the avoidant, they've just trapped themselves in their own pattern. The difference is, you finally walked free. Now, let's flip it back to you. I've exposed the game. I've shown you the psychology. And I've given you the moves to take your power back. But I want to hear from you. What about your story? What kind of games have avoidants played with you? Was it the sudden silence, the mixed signals, the hot and cold cycle that left you questioning yourself. Drop it in the comments below, because trust me, your story isn't just yours. Someone else is going through the exact same thing right now, and your words might be the reason they realize they're not alone. And if this breakdown hit home for you, if you felt that shift from confusion to clarity, from powerlessness to power, then don't just watch and scroll away. Hit that like button, and make sure you follow, because this conversation isn't ending here. In fact, in my next video, I'm going to break down something even more powerful, the 3-step formula to handle avoidance like a pro. That's not just about protecting yourself, it's about turning their entire game upside down. So here's the deal. Comment your experience. Like this video if it gave you clarity. Follow so you don't miss the next formula that changes everything. Remember, this isn't just content. This is your roadmap out of the confusion and into control. And the next step, you'll want to be here for it.